Reconcile and worship. The stories in Matthew chapters 5 to 7 are part of what's usually called Sermon on the Mount because they are words that Jesus delivered to his disciples and people when he went up to the mountain. Usually, when we listen to a sermon, it talks about one subject or a story from the Bible. But in this sermon, Jesus told many stories, connecting one story with many other stories. Among those stories, the verses we read today is about Jesus' new explanation of the 10 Commandments that Moses delivered. The 10 Commandments tell us how to love and serve God and to live with our neighbors in love. Out of the 10 Commandments, there's one that almost everyone is able to obey, which is, "Thou shalt not murder." This commandment is actually more difficult not to obey. In the verse today, Jesus tells a new story to this commandment that everyone knows. Jesus said, "If anyone is angry with a brother or sister, or curses or says, 'You fool,' he will be subject to judgment and be in the danger of the fire of hell." One would think that these things would happen if we actually killed someone or do something incredibly bad. But that's not how Jesus sees it. He sees that murder, as talked about in the 6th commandment, starts with the angry words and swears that come out of our hearts and lips. And then Jesus went on to tell one more story. He said, "If you are offering your gift at the altar and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them. Then come and offer your gift." At that time, people had to travel a long distance from Israel to give offerings to God. Back then, spaces for worship were not close like they are now. What Jesus was saying was that even if you had walked a long way to get to the temple, but remembered having fought someone, then you should go back that long way, reconcile, and then walk all the way back to the temple to give offerings to God. That is not easy. What do you think of that? Before worship, we usually pray to God, laying our sins before Him and asking Him for forgiveness. Then, if you remember something you must reconcile with someone, there is one thing before you ask for God's forgiveness, and that would be to reconcile with the person first. Jesus didn't say reconciliation is something you can consider. He said it's a must, like a commandment. If you wish to offer your worship to God, please remember what Jesus said today. God is happy to accept the worship of those who reconcile first.